Good morning, students. This is going to be 3 lessons worth of information here. We're going to start on page 141, which is number sense lesson 39, and then we're going to end off on page 146, which is number sense uh, lesson 41. We're going to sort of skip lesson 40. We're going to quickly, briefly mention it for a second, but we're going to keep going past it. Okay, so what we're talking about today and what we've been focusing on is decimals and fractions and how they interact with each other. So what I want to first cover is how do we demonstrate these different values? One of the ways visually we can do it is we have ones, which are large blocks. We have dashes, which are tenths, and dots, which are hundredths. So here we have two numbers that are being added together. We should first figure out what are the numbers together, and then we're going to have to do some regrouping because that's where our focus is. So this one right here, we have 2 wholes, 4 tenths, and 5 hundredths. So I'm going to write that down over here, which is 2 wholes, 4 tenths, and 5 hundredths. And I'm going to be adding this number right here, which is another 2 wholes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hundredths. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tenths. Now, what do I do with this? If I'm adding these two numbers together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some regrouping. So I'm going to first start at the far right side and make sure that these are both in the same value column. So this is both hundredths, so I can add them together. I have 5 and 8 hundredths, and I want to group those together. So altogether, that's going to equal 13. Now, horizontally, it's kind of odd to do it this way, to be honest with you. So maybe I should do this vertically instead. So let me rewrite this question: 2.45 plus 2.78. Okay, now I can do it. So I have 5 and 18, that equals 5 and 8, that equals 13. I'm going to put my 3 down here. I'm going to put my 1 up here. Now I'm going to do, I have 5 and 7, so that's going to give me 12. 1 up here. I have 5, and I have to put my decimal down. Now, what we're doing is this is all this is going to come up to the idea that realistically, when you're adding decimals, it's pretty much just normal addition, except there's just a decimal somewhere on the question. The biggest thing is just line up your decimals. Um, you don't really need to overcomplicate it. If you do subtraction, it's the exact same idea. It's really just a matter of you should pretty much always try to do vertical addition and subtraction, unless it's something really, really easy. But I would really encourage you to do vertical addition and subtraction. And this just looks like a normal question, except it just has decimal places, and the decimal places need to be lined up. That's kind of what it comes down to be honest with you. Um, and I sort of mentioned this here. Whenever you're doing horizontal addition, this is something that you should think about. When adding decimals is all about adding the same columns together. So what I mean by that is, we'll do this one right here. We have 1 whole and we have 1 tenth. Okay, those are not in the same columns of values. So that doesn't matter. We're just going to put the numbers down like this, 1 and 1. Okay, because these don't apply to each other. This is tenths, this is ones. Now this one, we have something slightly different. We have 0.3 and 0.4, or 3 tenths and 4 tenths. Those are both in the same column. Those are both tenths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them together, and I have 0.7. Okay, here again, we have a different example, 0.1 and 0.01. This is in my tenths, this is my hundredths. These don't really cross over with each other, so I'm just going to have 1, 1. Okay. Now, as we move past that, we also want to get familiar with understanding how do we represent fractions in different ways. And here I have an example. I have 23 over 10, and that's going to give me a decimal. Now, what decimal is it going to give? Well, because it's over 10, I'm going to put my last digit, which is the 3, in the tenths column. Okay, so I have 2.3. This next one, I have 458 over 100. So what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to write the number down, 458, and now I need to figure out where's my decimal going. So if you think about this, I have 4 wholes here because I have 400. So 400 over 100, that's like 4. And so what I have left over, 58. So I have 58 hundredths. So that means I want to put the decimal here because this gives me 58 hundredths. Okay. Now, as we move on to the very last page, really, I promise you, addition and subtraction is literally just line up the decimals vertically. Okay. Don't do horizontal addition and subtraction with decimals. It gets very confusing, very wonky, very easily because of just Well, for me, I know personally, that means I have to do a couple of extra steps every single time I'm doing the same question. So, for example, up here, 2.48 plus 2.78. I was trying to think about, okay, well, 8 and 5, that's 13. How am I going to show that? And then I have to carry the 1 over. And it was just getting confusing in my brain. And then, so I did this vertical and I did it a lot easier. Okay, so horizontal addition is quite difficult. If they give you a question horizontally, you can just change it to vertically. So I would really strongly encourage you just to do vertical. And the big thing is latitude decimals. Okay. Hope this was helpful, and this is going to cover 3 pages or 3 lessons worth of stuff.